Finally got around to watching one battle after another. And as someone who is very familiar with storytelling in Hollywood, let me tell you this. The symbolism is a lot darker than you might think. Okay, so this is a film that I've been hearing a lot of people talking about in different spaces, especially right now and coming off of the week that we just came off of ICE protests and just a ton of coverage across the media space, including social media, as well as legacy media. This has been a huge topic in the US. Now, I'm of the belief that film, TV, media in general is very, very powerful in shaping our worldviews, shaping our belief systems, mainly because of the strength of storytelling and how powerful storytelling can be. So I was watching this interview with Michael Shellenberger where he's actually asked about the mindset around radicalism in general and how film and media can really fuel that. And I think it would be important to hear to kind of set the stage of what I'm going to go on to next with one battle after another.
The most recent body cam footage from this thing, which came out just a couple days ago, shows one more angle on it, which is the woman who was shot's wife is out of the car, filming ICE, cursing at them. It is not it's conscious what they're doing. They were there on purpose, even if they didn't mean to try to run. We don't know what's in people's minds, but we do know that they were activists. That was an activist act.
Right.
I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
What's going on in their head? From your perspective and your own experience, what is going on in your head that you say, I'm going to do this? I'm going to put myself in that much peril.
Right. ICE are, for those people, their thinking is that these ICE officers are Nazis, like literal Nazis. They're fascists, that Trump is a fascist, that the country's being, run by fascists, that Stephen Miller's a fascist, that it's an existential crisis. And we all know that if your country's being taken over by fascists, that not just nonviolent, but even violent opposition is necessary. Hollywood has glamorized that. The classic moral case is the time machine going back and killing baby Hitler. Everybody, when they think about Hitler, everyone, one of the first things, understandably, that is relatable is how would you kill Hitler? And the heroism for 80 years, this picture of heroism was of fighting fascism and defeating fascism. So you on one hand we go, it's radical. But the mythology and what is structuring their own thinking, the major narrative, is the most mainstream narrative. I mean, it's the narrative, of Hollywood films for 80 years, of the imaginary, as people say. So that's what's going through their heads. They're heroes. They're resisting. They're fighting back. Everybody's implicated. Those ICE officers are as implicated as President Trump. That's the thinking.
So there you have it. Michael Shellenberger points something out really true, is that Hollywood has glamorized resistance, has glamorized these types of stories. And that's not me making a judgment one way or the other, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. It just is. Certainly, this has been a theme in Hollywood, the resistance or the freedom fighters. And that seems to be just overtly clear as to what's happening in one battle after another. But here's the part I think not many people are talking about. Now, I'm going to let this film play a little bit as I tell you what I want you to pay attention to. So first, just to kind of give you some context about what's happening. This is literally within the first few minutes of the opening of the film. And they are at an ICE detention center and they're freeing, or their attempt is to free people from these detention center. And right here, she's one of the main sort of revolutionaries in this film. And this man is the colonel, or what would be the ICE type agent. Something I think you should notice and just watch for it, because you're going to start to see it. And especially in this opening, which lasts maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And everything that you need to know about the movie really is in the first 15 minutes. She's holding a gun to him and he's getting turned on by it. You're about to see this escalate. And he's getting more and more turned on. Now, the reason I'm showing this is because this is a huge theme in this movie. The juxtaposition between sex and violence. This juxtaposition of sex and violence and them being used together is really powerful in movies. And there's a very specific reason they do this. So if you were trying to use storytelling to provoke a reaction or to emotionally condition someone or just to mobilize people, there's a few things to consider. First, I would say consider the demographic, right? Who is the intentional audience of the movie? So I went into Google and I asked that question. I said, what was the demographic for One Battle After Another? And I was given this response. The demographic for One Battle After Another skewed heavily male, around 62 to 64%, and older, about 77% aged 25 plus, with a significant Caucasian audience, about 50%. So we know that the demographic is largely males between maybe 25 and 35 or somewhere around there, even younger than that as well. But the primary target audience was young males. Now, from my view, when you juxtapose these two things, these are two very heightened states of being, right? So you're going to have a physiological experience, even as the viewer. This is how movies are powerful, because you're kind of vicariously living through the protagonist. So I went to Google and I just asked, is there a physiological reason to juxtapose sex and violence in movies? Google says, yes, there are significant physiological and neurological reasons why sex and violence are often juxtaposed in movies. The pairing exploits the fact that both behaviors trigger the same brain systems, specifically the hypothalamus, which governs primitive drives, aggression, and sexual arousal. Now here, high-intensity arousal. Both violence and sex are among the most powerful stimulants for the brain, generating immense arousal. According to the excitation transfer theory, the physiological arousal, increased heart rate, and adrenaline generated by a violent scene does not instantly dissipate. If a sexual scene follows, this heightened state can be transferred to it, making the overall experience more intense, thrilling, or arousing than either would be alone. And here, biological primacy and survival systems. Watching violence activates the amygdala, which regulates the fight or flight response, a deeply ingrained survival mechanism. When combined with sexual imagery, the brain is simultaneously activated by survival-based fear and aggression and reproductive impulses, making the content highly salient and memorable. But here's where I think things get a little dark. Cognitive priming. Media that combines sex and violence can prime viewers to associate sexual acts with aggression, potentially increasing the likelihood of aggressive thoughts or behaviors. In summary, filmmakers often pair these two because the human brain is physiologically wired to react intensely to both, making the combination a potent, if controversial, method of increasing engagement. So, I don't know, you tell me, what do you think? Do you think Hollywood is actually radicalizing young people? Do you think Hollywood is using storytelling and the powerful tool that it is? As someone that has spent a lot of time viewing films and picking them apart and analyzing them, I have a lot more actually to say about this specific film. There were other themes that I want to get to and other things that I want to point out. So if that sounds interesting to you, let me know in the comments if you want more. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Have you seen the film, and what was your impression of it? Well, if you made it to the end of this video, thank you for sticking around. I hope that you got some value out of what I was saying. And if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. I'm a super small and new channel and trying to grow, so that really helps. And otherwise, if you like this kind of content and these kinds of breakdowns, stick around because there's going to be a lot more coming up.